United stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. And what has been released by Manchester United, reportedly released, is a shock statement around what to expect this summer transfer window. And to be honest with you, it's muddy, it's unclear, but it's probably not good news around transfer expectations. And more, I feel that I'm excited about the Premier League season coming back, but not because of what Manchester United have done this summer. We've seen Rodrigo going from Valencia to Leeds. You've got James Rodriguez going to Everton, as well as a couple of other players. You've got all the deals that Chelsea have done, and the Premier League is looking very, very exciting. But at this moment in time, Manchester United certainly not delivering on that point. Now, look, I know a lot of people are going to be talking about Lionel Messi this morning. To be honest with you, I think they're doing it for the clicks. I think it's a load of bollocks. And maybe even our website is going to do an article on Lionel Messi. So I'm not talking about rival outlets here. I'm talking in general. Lionel Messi to Manchester United. If you watch the United stand, there is two things I'm going to tell you. Yesterday morning, I said, get worried when we get linked to Lionel Messi. And within hours, we're heavily linked to Lionel Messi. Why would you get worried? Because it's not going to happen. It's a PR spin. You've been negative about what's happened with Harry Maguire, which I'll talk about in a few minutes because I've not had my say on that. Well done to Flex and that responding to it last night. You've been negative about the Sancho deal not getting done. You've been negative about not getting Gabriel. You're negative about us not getting a midfielder or a centre-back. What do United need? Oh, Lionel Messi. What a great story that is to absolutely flip everyone's negativity and make them feel positive. Look, I would love this to get clipped, but I tell you what, it's not going to. United will not sign in Lionel Messi. They won't sign Lionel Messi. So if you are one of those plonkers that are getting excited or thinking, oh, it could happen, it won't happen. It serves a purpose for United to be linked to him. Of course it does. But we won't sign him. This is a guy who is rumoured to be on between 100 and 200 million pounds a year. That's over £1 million a week. Like, we moaned about giving Alexis Sanchez 400 grand a week. You're going to give Lionel Messi at 33 in his first season ever in the Premier League £1 million a week. Manchester United. I mean, there's just so many whys that won't happen there. We won't do that deal. Never in a million years. We won't do that deal. You could argue we shouldn't do that deal, and a large part of me says we shouldn't, but you know what? I'm a romantic. Messi, Ronaldo at Man United. Of course, I want to see that. But not under this regime. We won't pay somebody $500,000 a week, let alone £1 million a week. So you just forget about Messi. All this, it could happen. United are in talks. United's entourage is talking to Messi's entourage. Load of crap. We're just being used. We will not get Messi. We won't go anywhere near Messi. And why would Messi at 33 come to Manchester United? This is a guy that wants to leave Barcelona because they don't match his ambitions. And he's going to come to Manchester United, a club that's not been anywhere near a title in 8 years. No, he won't come. He wouldn't come anyway, but we won't afford it. It's a total and utter nonsense. What is relevant this morning? And Nick Warren says, realistically, could we buy Sancho and get Messi if he was free? Personally, I think it's a stunt to get the president out of Barca, says Nick Warren. It's not happening. I don't even want to engage with Messi to United stuff because it just takes your focus away from where it should be. Calvin Joa, latest member of the United Stand Members Club, and Messi to Arsenal. Zane's lost his... Yeah, let Arsenal think they're getting Messi. I mean, yeah. You probably got about as much chance as us, to be fair. Anyway... This is the most important thing I wanted to talk to you about this morning. So Phil Brown, who's been on the show before, based over in America, big United fan, does does the podcast BTP, Beyond the Pitch, and he is got good connections with the club. He'd been speaking outspokenly as ever, saying that Manchester United are being destroyed from within. The club have since emailed him to state their position. So this is from Phil Brown, an official email that's come from Manchester United Football Club that he has circulated out there. So Beyond the Pitch podcast, Phil Brown, which is at Malachians on Twitter, at MALACHIANS, at Malachians. I've quote tweeted it off at Mark Goldbridge anyway, so you can follow him there. So this reportedly, and I've got no reason to believe this hasn't, because I know what Phil is, you can pretty much guarantee this has come from Manchester United Football Club, an email. Fasten your seatbelts for this. This is from Manchester United Football Club. Manchester United has been consistent in its position regarding recruitment since the start of the COVID-19 crisis. The club points out that it remains committed to supporting the manager in strengthening the squad over the long term. The club also points out that this summer's transfer window will not be business as usual because of the huge economic impact from pandemic, both in terms of immediate loss of revenue and uncertainty over the long-term impact of the crisis. United's point of view is that these harsh economic realities means the club must be cautious this summer to ensure that the club preserves its strength through this difficult period. Bollocks, bollocks, bollocks is my first reaction, but let me just digest this a little bit. The club points out that this summer's transfer window will not be business as usual because of the huge economic impact from the pandemic. So business as usual is a 60 million net spend. Let's be clear. This summer will not be business as usual because of the pandemic. So it won't be business as usual. And our business as usual is a 60 million, 70 million net spend. The last 2 summers, our net spend has been 60 to 70 million. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do business as usual. So it's going to be less than that, according to Manchester United. Also, United's point of view is that these harsh economic realities mean the club must be cautious this summer to ensure that the club preserves its strength through this difficult period. Now, that's the one that annoys me because I've been talking about this for a few days. So United are basically taking an economical, responsible position here. We're not going to spend because we've got to preserve our economic status in these difficult times. What a crock of shit. And I'm sorry to swear on a morning show, but what a crock of shit. You bought our club 15 years ago. You tumbled us into hundreds of millions of pounds of debt. You've never taken us out of that hundred millions of pounds of debt. And now you're using COVID-19, a very serious worldwide pandemic that people have lost their jobs from, they've lost their lives from. And Manchester United Football Club are going to hide behind COVID-19 to not buy players. I think, you know what? They've got every right to do that. I can't say that they haven't, but I think it's a little bit cheap when they bought us, put us into debt, kept us in debt, and then there's a pandemic like this where Chelsea are spending, Everton are spending, Man City are spending, loads of Arsenal are spending, and United aren't going to spend because of a global pandemic, despite having more revenue streams than any of those clubs. Despite being in hundreds of millions of pounds of debt for years, we're suddenly going to use this as an excuse not to spend money because basically profits are going to happen and dividends are going to happen for shareholders and the owners. And that's what it's about, preserving those revenue streams out of the club to the people who've always been taking money out of the club, for the people who bought the club to take money out of the club. Manchester United could easily spend £150 million on transfers this summer and swallow it up into the huge debt they've already got, or actually swallow it up with the profits that we've already got coming in. It's a total and utter disgrace, to be honest with you, if that is the line that the club is going down. To go and hide behind that pandemic and pretend that you are a well-run football club that basically, I know Liverpool fans are annoyed, but I sort of understand it with Liverpool because I think over their new ownership, the owners have taken £10 million out in nearly 10 years. Liverpool do try to run operatively as a sort of break-even business. Profits against losses. They try and break even. So for Liverpool to say we're not going to buy Timo Werner was really disappointing for Liverpool fans, but it does make some sense in relation to how they try to run that football club. It's about, breaking even, making profit and running a sustainable business. For Manchester United to pretend that they're trying to do that so that they don't have to sign players is wrong, because we don't run like that. For years, Manchester United fans have, sweated blood and tears trying to say we should not be in this level of debt. And United will go, well, it's normal for any business to carry a load of debt, which it can be. But you can't then say, when we're about how much debt are we in at the moment? 500 million, 300 million, I don't know. You can't then say, well, COVID-19 means we can't spend. But you put us into debt loads of times before, mainly to take money out of the club. I was about going into debt to improve the club. So it is very, very frustrating. Mark, what are your views on his re-signing Memphis as Karen Chopra? Well, I want to sort of move through this, Karen, at the moment, because in case you've not been listening to the last couple of minutes, talking about signing a bloody player is somewhat irrelevant in relation to what United's alleged position is on transfers. So, you may as well talk to me about buying a new Bic pen, because the reality is United are sort of trying to manoeuvre the PR here that we're not going to sign players. Hi Mark, I love the channel. Director of Football needed massively. COVID-19 discount doesn't exist as teams around us are spending. This season will be up and down, which will result in panic buying in October, says Craig Johnson. Jake, honestly Mark, just want the transfer window to end now. Feels as though we won't sign anyone, and then all this with Maguire, where is it a joke of a club going? That's from Jake Henderson. And Brian Murphy, Mark, this bloody regime at United has to go. They do this to us every transfer windows. Glazers have to go, Glazers out. And Glazers just need to sell up and sling it, says Lee McDermott. And I think a lot of what people are saying is spot on. This is not about Ed Woodward. This is not about Matt Judge. This is not about Solskjaer. This is not about buying players. This is about a message from your owners. This is about you've only got this much money to spend. Now, what I would say is, I still think, this is not the video where I'm ranting that we're not going to sign Sancho. I absolutely am convinced we're going to sign Jadon Sancho. I'm totally confident about that happening. My frustration about this is that I've always said Sancho's not enough. It's not enough. Sancho will not make us better than Chelsea next year. Like, Chelsea have got Werner, Havertz, Ziyech. Sancho on his own, fantastic player, but you're up against Werner, Ziyech and Havertz there. They've bought 3 quality players in. We're bringing 1 in. And that's my point. Ollie needed 2 or 3 this summer, not 1. So this not business as usual, this not, COVID-19. It's so fucking frustrating. It's so frustrating because you know what? Some people will look at us and go, haha, look at United. But the thing is, it's every bloody year. And the absolute truth about this is nothing to... This is not... What I'm trying to say is, when they say it won't be business as usual, but business as usual is shit. Like, business as usual at United is shit. Like, you can't say... COVID-19, so it's not business as usual. The last 2 summers have been shit. Like, our net spend's been 60 to 70 million. We've been outspent by tiny clubs. So it's an accumulation of things. Like, Manchester United Football Club is being run by people who are not good for Manchester United Football Club. And I'm not talking about Woodward here. I'm talking about the Glazers. They do not care about this football club enough to make us successful. It is a bloody business. And it's been a business for 15 years. And whilst it's a business and they're doing this, we're never going to get back. Because when we haven't got Sir Alex Ferguson. He did it despite this ownership. We haven't got that. It doesn't matter how good Ollie is. And I think he can be good, but he can't be that good. We are... Look, you talk about Messi. What if Messi goes to Man City? That's it. Liverpool are miles ahead of us. Man City are miles ahead of us. Chelsea are going to be miles ahead of us. The best we can hope for is 4th next season as things stand. There is no appetite within that football club to be successful on the pitch if it means spending money. They don't know what they're doing with that money and they don't really want to spend that money. But I've got to be honest, I still think we're going to sign Sancho despite that official statement. Because I think what United are doing is they know that Sancho's going to sign and they know when they sign Sancho it will be enough for all of us to go, yay, we've done it. Sit down, we've got Sancho. But actually, it's very, very clever because that's all they're going to give us. They're not going to give anything else, are they? It's going to be just Jadon Sancho. And many people will go, oh, that's good enough, that's great, that's superb. But it's not. It's not. You can dress it up how you like, and Sancho's a must statement signing. But would you rather have Sancho or would you rather have Ziyech, Havertz and Werner? And I'll tell you what, I'd rather have Ziyech, Havertz and Werner. And that, I hate to say that, but you're getting... Man United need more than 1 player. They're getting 3. 3. Well, 2 of them are potentially world class and 1 of them's top class. I think Ziyech's top class. I don't think he's world class. I think Havertz and Werner can become world class. So I would take those 3 over 1. So even... And we haven't... Let's not forget, we haven't got Sancho yet, but we will get Sancho. I've said this for a long time. I think we will get him. And we'll all go, yeah, look at the number 7. Look at him, he's playing the flute. But actually... It's not as good as the business Chelsea have done. And that's the frustration for me. I know some of you are sat there this morning going, we're not even going to get Sancho. I'm fuming. I'm fuming based on the fact that I know... we will get Sancho, but it won't be enough. We need to do more than that. And they can't hide behind this COVID-19 thing because what the truth is, it's the same old story of the last few years. They don't want to spend money. I'm sick to the back teeth with this ownership, to be honest. I'm sick to the back teeth with the ownership, the structure, the decision making. It just is so frustrating because it's the lack of investment. It's the people who they let make the decisions on the investment. The lack of a director of football. we are just, I mean, we had Christian Falk on yesterday and we're talking about the comparisons between Manchester United and Bayern Munich, and it's absolutely night and day. Bayern Munich are such an intelligently run club. They only let outside owners take 30% of their business, which means 70% of that club is retained by the club. And they've got a structure. They've got sporting directors. You know, a manager gets sacked, but the club stays the same. Man United sack a manager, everything falls apart. You have to start again. We're in a bloody mess. An absolute mess. And any success we've had over the last 6 years has been despite the ownership. In fact, any success we've had since the Glazers took over has been despite the ownership. They've not actually directly contributed to sod all. It's been brilliant managership from Sir Alex Ferguson and absolutely idiotic running of the club since Sir Alex Ferguson left. And if we could, you know, I'm not one for Glazers out on Twitter or anything like that, because I've been Glazers out from minute one. Even when we won the Champions League, I was Glazers out. You know, you either get it or you don't get it. You know, them delivering Jadon Sancho will not make me not be Glazers out. I mean, I don't start chanting it. I don't start, you know, getting the green and gold out or tweeting it or anything like that, because, you know, that's not going to cut it. The reality is any United fan worth their salt knows that the Glazers, you get rid of them like that as owners of the club. Anything we do with them in charge is always with one or two arms behind your back, and I think it's poor. I think it's really poor from Man United to hide behind COVID-19. They've got every right to do it. Of course they can. It's the perfect excuse. I said this back in April. It's the perfect excuse to hide behind a global pandemic that's cost a lot of people money, to say you can't spend money. But every other club's doing it. How are Everton doing it? How are Arsenal doing it? You know, Arsenal have got American owners that don't like to spend money. They're still spending money. So if they're doing it, why aren't we doing it? You can't use that excuse when you make more money than anybody else, and then you say, oh, we can't spend it though because of COVID. And then clubs that don't make as much money as you are spending money. Doesn't make sense, does it? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I've had my say on that. Let's have a look what people are saying, and then we've got to go through the news. Hi, Mark. In my opinion, we're far too into the Sancho deal to pull out, says Dazbo. We will sign Jadon Sancho. I said this yesterday as well. We will sign Jadon Sancho because even if we sign Sancho, we won't spend... Some people are saying we're going to spend 120 million outright. We won't. That won't happen, and Dortmund don't even care about this. I can't believe how many ITK Twitter accounts there are now. There's probably my fault for saying it yesterday morning. There's so many. I've got no problem with them, but I don't believe any of them because you're just an account that says ITK. You've got no credibility. Nobody knows what your background is. No one knows what you know. You basically could be an Arsenal fan from Australia who's 10 years old, like taking bits of information and lying. Nobody knows who you are, so I can't give you any credibility. But there's loads and loads of them that have shot up now. But what have I said? You know, United Stand, we're live every day. What have I said since back in July, and certainly since the first day of the transfer window after we beat Leicester? Manchester United will sign Jadon Sancho. I've been very firm on that. Now, I don't need a pat on the back or anything like that. If it falls apart, I'm going to have to take it on the chin. But Manchester United will sign Jadon Sancho. We won't sign him for the out... I heard somebody saying yesterday, United have got to pay the 120 million. We won't pay it outright. We will pay somewhere between 80 and 90 million up front, and then next year we'll pay the rest. That's what will happen with Jadon Sancho. Which means that our outlay for this summer will be between 80 and 90. But I can see us selling 50 million worth of talent. So actually our net spend will be 40 million if you take 50 from the 90 we play for Sancho. So we'll get Sancho, but United will turn a profit compared to last year because the net spend will be lower. From the 08 recession until 12, we barely spent anything. I think they're expecting a recession and treating this as the same, sadly, says not a number. The Glazers got a loan out to cover the COVID, so the money should still be there to continue and spend on new players because the loan has covered COVID, says Mark Jones. You see, they take us for fools, Mark. They take us for fools. They start talking about stuff, but because we're a public limited company, everything they do around money is out there in the arena, and you've hit the nail on the head there. United took out a loan of £150 million to cover the losses in revenue. So whatever was, if that's to cover the losses in revenue, the money to spend on transfers was already there anyway, apparently. Think if we don't sign at least 2 to 3 players, they might as well sack Ollie now. Not backing the manager is simply condemning him to failure, says Jake Henderson. Very, 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 very intelligent comments there. But we will sign Sancho. I've said that before. And When it'll happen, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any progress at the moment. I think United, even Jadon Sancho, I read a story yesterday that even Jadon Sancho just feels he's in limbo at the moment. He refuses to commit his future to Dortmund, but he trains with them because he's being professional, but he fully expects the move to Manchester United. Even Dortmund expect it to happen, but United are just dragging this out. And I think, a lot of you have said it, and you're probably right. Maybe United are dragging this out on purpose because they're dragging it out so that they get, like they did with Bruno in January, like they did with Maguire last year. You drag it out to the end of the transfer window so that then people can't expect you to buy more players. I mean, they think they're clever, but they're not. Actually, the biggest issue with Manchester United is that most of the people involved in business decisions around football at United are not intelligent as you, but they think they are. They think they can spin their PR plates and manipulate you, but we've seen it so many times before. I think that statement that I read out at the start is actually more about, we are going to deliver Sancho and we think that's going to make everybody happy, but actually we're not going to give you anything else. I don't hear of United being linked to anybody else at all. The only one player I think we will buy, and it'll be bloody brave of them, is Josh King, who I think is just not a Manchester United player, but Ollie likes him, so you probably will get him. The Josh King signing is more on Ollie. It's not really about the club, because I don't think Manchester United Football Club would ever go for Josh King. I think that's on Ollie, and I'm convinced we'll get him, and I don't think he's anywhere near United bench quality, which is exactly what we would buy him for. As all the players are on holiday, maybe United are waiting for us to get back to training before signing Sancho to keep him training with Dortmund. Yeah, whatever. Hope United fans in America do something to the Glazers. They need to be sorted out, says Extras E. Well, I hope they don't do anything illegal. Maybe protest outside the Tampa Bay, but if the Glazers said not buying players because of paying off debt, I would maybe say okay, but they are not buying players and taking out loans for more debt, says Dazu W. Exactly. Any argument you've got about, we don't want to spend money because of COVID is totally and utterly hypocritical when you're carrying 300, 400, 500 million pounds of debt and have done for years. That's my issue with this statement from the club, is you're trying to convert idiots. And there might be idiots in our fan base, but in general, I think United fans are very intelligent about how the club is run. So you can't hide behind anything when you've carried hundreds of millions of pounds of debt for years. You can't talk about trying to break even or anything like that. Anyway, on Messi, can I just say it's a load of nonsense? I think it's a waste of time to even discuss it. This is a guy, we talk about United not wanting to spend money, and you're talking about signing a guy who wants £1 million a week and is 33. No, it's not going to happen. I'd love to see Messi in the Premier League. I'd love to see him at Manchester United, but no. And the scary thing about the Messi thing is, I said it yesterday morning, I'm very confident United will do business this summer, but the minute we start getting linked to Messi, I'm going to worry, because it's just positive PR. What are United fans doing this morning? They're talking about Messi. I've even seen people talking about where Messi would fit in, and they're all happy, and I just feel sorry for them, because I think you've been manipulated. You've fell into the PR tumble dryer of Manchester United again, haven't you? Where things are going really bad, and suddenly this ridiculous story comes out that people jump on and go, I feel good again. I've seen it so many times after a loss. We're linked to Bale, we're linked to Ronaldo. Our captain, Harry Maguire, gets found guilty of some very serious charges, and the very next hour, virtually, United are in for Messi. We've not bought any players, everyone else is buying them, and now we're linked to Messi. It's and mate, I'm not saying United have leaked it. Maybe it's not United who've leaked it, but it's certainly, the timing of it is pretty good, isn't it? And many of us who are long in the tooth to this become very tired of this. And if you're not, you know what? Maybe United are sat there going, well, we haven't leaked it. It's nothing to do with us. Well, that's still your fault, because maybe if you'd done transfer business by now, we wouldn't have to be believing or listening to this nonsense rumours, because we've done sod all. Mark, could you own United, fix the club, says William Jacob? If I could, I would. And I'd give it back to all you. I've read we could get Depay back for 36 million because of a buyback clause. I'd welcome that if we can't get Sancho's. Glazers won't spend during COVID-19. I'd be gutted if we bought Memphis Depay back. I haven't seen anything from Memphis Depay that shows me that he's a Manchester United player. I watched him play in the game against Bayern Munich, and he had lots of opportunities, and I thought he was pretty much the same as what he was at United. I mean, he's a talent, but I don't think he's consistent, and doing it in the French league, I just don't think you should go back. I'd rather have Zaha back than him. Mark, turned you... bye-bye then. You can go, Brits abroad. No worry. I mean, what Brits Abroad basically says is he's turned it off because he's fed up of the moan. I know we can moan, but does anybody have any issues with what I'm moaning about? I mean, it's an official statement from Manchester United Football Club to Phil Brown about hiding behind COVID-19. I've also said we'll sign Sancho. So basically what Brits Abroad is saying is, I'm moaning because I care about the football club and the club are trying to say that we're not going to spend money. I'm saying we're going to sign Jadon Sancho, and I'm saying that trying to sign Lionel Messi is a load of crap. So Brits Abroad finds that to be moaning. Okay, Brits Abroad. I tell you what you need to go and read. You need to go and read the Daily Star every morning. Total load of shit, but, you know, it's fantasy world, and it might be a little bit more palatable for you. There is rumours that the Glazers have used money from United to buy one of the players for the Buccaneers, says Rachel Speck. Chelsea are linked to new players even before they complete the deal for the player. They're about to sign. There is levels to this, and we are far behind. I saw yesterday that Chelsea, having got Ziyech, Havertz, Werner, Chilwell nearly done, Thiago Silva done, they want a goalkeeper, and they're after Declan Rice as well. They could buy 7 quality players, and we've got nobody. United waiting for Dortmund to go firm for Zaha, so we get the kickback from the deal, therefore making the net spend even less, says Jack Webster. Yes, but if you listen to the interview with Christian Falk yesterday, Dortmund aren't actively looking for anybody. They're very relaxed. If United have got to buy Sancho and then Dortmund will buy the replacement, they're not looking for a replacement because they're not going to do that until United pay. So again, it's just a silly story out there that people think, oh, the delay is because Dortmund is trying to sign a replacement. And that might be the case, but it very well probably isn't. Bruno's fee came out of this budget as well. Bruno, Sancho in, and Sancho isn't good enough. But a year ago, I'd have taken your arm off, says Loss. Yeah, fair enough. Look, a lot of people have said, please smash a like on the video, by the way, and subscribe if you're new. But a lot of people have said you've not spoken about the Harry Maguire thing, which is quite right. There is a few things I need to talk about. Diogo Dalot has put an Instagram post out saying Sunset's not for sale or something like that. Dalot needs to go. Without a shadow of a doubt. He is a player that we need to move on. We need to get some money in, and I don't see a future for him. Big shout out to Daley Blind, by the way. Look, once a United player, always a United player if you're treating the club with respect. I really like Daley Blind. We know that last season he had this incident where he collapsed on the pitch. He collapsed again on the pitch yesterday in a friendly. He's okay, but there's clearly a condition there. I think it's to do with his heart. I mean, look, I totally get why Daley Blind probably doesn't want to retire and wants to try and find a medical way that he can keep playing. But, you know, Daley, if there is a risk there to you losing your life, maybe it is time to stop playing. But best wishes to him anyway, of course. We all loved him at United, or the vast majority of us did. And look, on Harry Maguire, I mean, Harry Maguire has put an Instagram post out as well, and what he has said is that there's 3 things that can't be hidden. That's the sun, the moon, and the truth. So Harry Maguire is very much going to appeal this. And Harry Maguire is obviously very, very frustrated and feels that he's been treated badly. He did not. I mean, look, if you want to know what he's been found guilty of, aggravated assault on a police officer, and numerous bribes of a police officer, attempted bribes, including the words, "Do you know who I am? I'm Manchester United's leader. How much do you want?" Things like this. The critics will say, well, of course Harry Maguire's going to deny it because he's been dropped from the England squad. I said this yesterday morning. Harry Maguire's probably going to get dropped from the England squad. He didn't get dropped, but then when he was found guilty, he has been dropped by Gareth Southgate. Manchester United, as things stand, I would remove the captaincy from him anyway for footballing reasons. In relation to this, well, you're innocent until you've been found guilty, and he's now been found guilty, so he's guilty. He can appeal it and be found innocent, but at the moment he is guilty, so Manchester United need to do something. The Greek judicial system is not something I have a massive knowledge of. If it was in the UK, I would have a lot more. We would all have a lot more. So it's very difficult to condemn Harry Maguire, even though he's guilty, because he is very forcefully denying that he's done this. And there may be further evidence that he can bring out, and he might be able to clear his name. The danger is if you appeal something and then you still... There's a lot of charges against him there. So if the bribery gets dropped, does the assault get dropped? He needs everything to be dropped to clear his name. They might say, OK, there's not enough evidence to charge you with the bribery, but we're still charging with the assault, in which case Harry Maguire, Manchester United captain, has still hit a police officer in Greece on holiday. So he needs to clear his name from everything. And I hope he can. I mean, what I would say is what I've said before. I think the world lives in this, cancel culture mentality now where no one can make a mistake, and people who've done a lot worse will jump on Harry Maguire and say, look at him, he's a disgrace. And they've probably done a lot worse in their own time. People who act like their farts don't smell do my head in. The reality is everybody makes a mistake. Everyone should be given a second chance. In the worst case scenario, Harry Maguire's not going to go to prison for this. It'll be a big fine anyway. That is not the end of Harry Maguire at Manchester United. I would just say this, in my opinion, Manchester United don't need to do anything stupid like cancel his contract or anything like that. I think Harry Maguire plays next season, hopefully as our right-sided centre-back. We buy a left-sided centre-back, I hope, and that's what United build off. I mean, I think Harry Maguire's been playing out of position for a long time. I think he'll be a better right-sided player in the way that Ollie wants to play because he likes his centre-backs to split. And I don't think Harry Maguire should be captain anyway. So I think for United, all they need to do on this is say, look, Harry, how much time are you going to invest trying to clear your name for this? Because we've got a new season to start. You're not captain. I wasn't going to have you as captain anyway, but you're not going to be captain. That's the only punishment you're having. You're straight into the starting lineup. You're very, very important. Let's crack on. How much time Harry Maguire wants to spend on this, I don't know. And if I was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I would say to Harry Maguire, look, what are you doing it for, Harry? If it's just to if it's a sense of injustice, that's fine. But if it's just to try and keep the United captaincy, forget it. You're not going to be the captain anyway. But you're very important to the team. Let's move on. The issue is how much of this time. Manchester United season starts very soon. Harry Maguire is a very important player, no matter what people think. How much of his time is mentally is this taking of his? We as a football club are not prepared for the new season. We're not. We're hindered by having to start the season a week later, so we're always going to be playing catch-up because Liverpool's and Chelsea's and City's are all going to have 3 points before we even kick a ball. And at the moment, we've not brought any players in. We've just bottled a Europa League and our captain's been arrested in Greece. So we're not prepared very well for this new season. Regardless of when Sancho comes or when anybody else comes, we're not very well prepped for the start of this season. Somebody in that football club needs to grab this by the bullhorns and start sorting things out. We need strong leadership here. And it might not always be the right leadership, but if it's strong leadership, then it helps us. And I just think, get Harry Maguire into Carrington and say, what is your end goal with this Greece thing? Because we've got a football season to start. And whether you get found guilty or not guilty, whether you win your appeal or not, every time you're at an away ground, you're going to get boot chanted about anyway. So if that's what you're trying to do, let's just move on. Suspended sentence, let's just move on from this because we need Harry Maguire footballer. We don't need Harry Maguire, battling court cases in Greece. But it's a difficult one, but it needs strong leadership. And I totally understand as a human being why, if Harry Maguire has been treated badly, he wants to clear his name. But you know what? I would also say as Manchester United Football Club, any of our players, we've just been through COVID-19, which United have quite happily tell us about in a statement that's come out. Manchester United Football Club, we've been through COVID-19. Many football clubs are going to go out of business. Many people can't even go on holiday. Many people won't even go on holiday or go on a plane because of the potential health risk. Many footballers, including Manchester United footballers, have been abroad, whether it's Greece or wherever, mixing and mingling with lots of other people, enjoying the down season, which is their right. But, should they be doing that? We've just had 3 months of lockdown and they're off jetting around the world to, have their drinks and have their parties and have a good time, whilst everybody else is sort of worrying about their future and not going on holidays. And I just think, we're all geniuses in hindsight, but why are Manchester United Football Club's players putting themselves into situations with general public and alcohol? Like, I saw the video of Harry Maguire not fighting. I saw Harry Maguire in this very enclosed area with lots and lots of members of the public. He is Manchester United's captain. He is on a lot of money. And when you're in that situation with people who aren't all United fans and drink, you're just putting yourself into a situation. And what I'm trying to say here is, that if Man United football players want to do that in the future, and you're going to go on holiday, you earn enough money to take a couple of security with you into those situations. Trained security. I know it's a big jump to say, well, that's what Kanye West do and everyone else does like that. But if Harry Maguire had a couple of security guards with him on that night out, would Harry Maguire be in that situation? Because I'll tell you what security do. They don't go and start beating up the people who are trying to attack Harry Maguire's sister. They grab Harry Maguire and they just take him away. That's what they do. They're there to protect him. And I just think that they earn so much money, they've all got to be a little bit more careful now. Because this is, unfortunately, United's the lesson again. We've seen it before with many things. Man United are unfortunately the test case now. That I think if you're a professional footballer on a lot of money and you're going on holiday where there's alcohol and you're mingling with the general public, we've now seen what can happen. I'd be very surprised if most clubs now say, if you're going to do that, you've got to have security with you, because it's just, whether Harry Maguire's guilty or not. And I still think he might not be guilty, to be honest. But you've got to go with the judicial system of Greece and see what happens. You just can't put yourself in that situation, can you? You can't. If they don't sign anyone, us as fans need to do more to get these bloodsuckers out of our club. More press, protests and banners, says Connor. Please no Messi, it would be disrespectful to Ronaldo, says Grant. Well, Messi's not going to happen. Shame, it's not going to happen, is it? Lewis says, suspended for 3 years, he should be in jail, got away with it big time, says Lewis P. Well, he's going to appeal it anyway, so I think talking about jail and everything like that is a little bit unfair. Who do you think we will replace Harry Maguire? Nobody. He will still be at the club, homeless. It's not having a reputed, successful manager affecting our chances of attracting, getting good players, says Praveen. No, it's nothing to do with the manager. It's nothing to do with the manager. It's to do with the appetite of the football club to spend money. The manager is not the reason why we're not buying players. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants his players, and I think we all know who those players are. It's nothing to do with that. Let's have a look at what people are saying in the live comments. Bit of a longer show this morning, but I just felt that statement thing needed to be addressed. Let me just remove that twat in the live comments. There we go. We don't need Messi for 200 million. We just need Sancho and a left-sided centre-back. I mean, look. I mean, that's a very good point from Rickett. People talk about signing Lionel Messi at 33. The total package to sign Messi would probably be £200 million. You've had people saying, I don't want Sancho, I want 3 average players. Well, with £200 million, you could get Sancho, a centre-back and a centre midfielder of good quality. You could get Van der Beek, Sancho and Badiashile for the price you get for Messi. So, I mean, even on that sense, it doesn't make sense. Is not okay. People say, I don't want Messi to come. Don't worry, it's very unlikely Messi comes to United when there is City, PSG or Bayern as an option. He won't. Yeah, T-Rex is right. He won't come to us anyway. The club is on a slow, steady decline. The only way is to boycott games, protest and stop buying merch. Anything less leads to slow, painful death. And if they don't sign anyone, Ollie should resign and come out and just say everything what's wrong with the club. Only way things will start changing. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would do that. I don't think he would do that. He's too much of a proud United person to think that, he'll think that he can turn things around. Do you think we'll still do business? I think Man United are going to sign Jadon Sancho. At this moment in time, Man United will sign Jadon Sancho and that will be it. That's my prediction at the moment. I think that's where we're heading and that's very disappointing. And the reason I would say that is that, yeah, Sancho's a fantastic signing. But would you rather have Sancho or would you rather have Werner, Ziyech, Havertz, Chilwell, Thiago Silva? I mean, I love Sancho, but we needed more than one player this summer. It wasn't about one player. We needed 2 or 3 players at least, not one. Chelsea have done it right. United, again, have done it wrong. And, there's still plenty of time left in this transfer window for them to turn it around. But when they're putting out replies to people like Phil about COVID-19, you know what they're setting us up for. And look, we know Manchester United have mentioned COVID-19 a lot now and how the impact it's going to have on their spending. It's not having much of an impact on anybody else, is it? And why should it have an impact on Manchester United when you've carried hundreds of millions of pounds of debt for years and now suddenly you're talking about, oh, COVID-19 means we can't spend money? Well, there was no COVID-19 and you still put us into hundreds of millions of pounds of debt. Absolute hypocrites. Hypocrites. We're a business, not a football club, until proven otherwise. And for the last 15 years, I think that's what we have become. A lot of people talking about a tweet from Sky. Everton have released their new kit. Oh, and yeah, James Cooper is saying that Harry Maguire is set to meet senior Manchester United officials today to discuss the future of the club captaincy after being found guilty of 3 charges by the Greek court. Well, look, you know what I think about that. Harry Maguire shouldn't be Man United captain anymore. It's got nothing to do with... Well, no, actually, we don't do that on this channel. Just... quickly, should Harry Maguire be Manchester United captain now? For me, it's a no because of the Europa League semi-final. I'd already made my mind up that Harry Maguire wasn't a captain anyway. So for me, on footballing terms, he's not a captain. I think he's a very important player for us. I think I like him as a centre-back. But I don't want him to be captain anymore. And that was before what happened in Greece. And after what's happened in Greece, I don't think he can be captain anymore. But, yeah. A lot of people say no as well. Should Solskjaer be backed if nobody is signed, says Connor Linnett? Well, as fans, we have to. We won't sign Messi. We already have Pereira. Not space for both of them, says Robert McCormack. And the vast majority are saying no, he shouldn't be captain. Okay, look, we'll be back later. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Big news this morning. But what I would take away from this is I still think we're signing... I know we're signing Sancho. There you go. Speak to you all later.